I remember the first time I got into the gym, I had a friend, he was like, bro, like, you just got into a breakup, like, go to a gym, you know, like, you're not doing anything, you're just playing video
Classic
games.
story.
Yeah,
To
it's
go
just
to
a
the
breakup.
gym after the breakup.
Yeah, and then I was like, you know what, bro, you're right. Like, I'm just playing video games, doing nothing. So I was like, let me just go to the gym. Perfect timing. I was like very heavy. I was like 230, 40 pounds. My face was like super puffy. And then that's how I started working out.
How old you were at that time?
15, 16, I would say, when I started working out. So it's been 6 years, you know what I mean?
Okay. That's
Do you have like a breakup story, or you just
Oh
kinda
no,
got into it?
I think I was born to an athletic family. My granddad was a professional football player, soccer player, and then I loved sports. I loved football. I loved running and being active, physically active. So,
A lot of cardio.
Yeah, a lot of cardio. I'm very endurant.
What position did you play in soccer?
It was defensive midfielder.
So you had like anger issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually my position, and I used to play center back too.
Okay, no, I'm on the right side.
Center back or midfield?
Right side. Defensive midfielder on the
Okay, yeah.
right flank.
Then I'm assuming you were a good runner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a good.
Did you incorporate like a lot of those things like in your training, or not really?
There was a time in my life when I worked as a Real Madrid U16 coach assistant.
What?
And the reason, it was like for summer camp for 2 months, and I was selected because I could speak English, Spanish, and Russian. So, and they selected me because I had a very good understanding of strategy of football, and I had pretty decent skills. I'm not gonna lie. So, and there were like 25 people. And I was the only girl, and they chose me because of like understanding of tactics and strategy. And I'm not the strongest, not the fastest, but maybe one of the smartest ones. And I can like see and predict, like it's kind of have eyes on my back, and I can see where the attack is developing, and then I can like intercept very well.
So you're the Armenian Sergio Busquets?
Maybe.
Why did you even start training? What was your reason?
So, as a child, I remember we went to the beach with my family, and all the kids, they could swim, and I couldn't swim, so that's why I had to just chill on the beach, and I couldn't go and join everyone having fun in the water. And then I was like, okay, I want to learn to swim. And then I was like 6 or 7 years old, and my grandma took me to the swimming pool, and I learned to swim on the 3rd day, and then they just moved me to the professional team, and that's how I became swimmer. So the next 12 years I was swimming professionally. But the way swimmers are trained is like you run, you go to the gym, and you swim. It's like very intense, and it's a very young sport. Like after 16 years old, you're kind of getting close to being retired.
Damn.
And with athletics, it's the opposite. Like you start at 20 and you still have a chance, because like actually your performance is pretty old. Like running is pretty old sport, like unlike swimming. So then after swimming I started running, then I injured my knee, and now I just now my reason to go to the gym is actually mental, because all the work and like daily stress that we all go through, when I go to the gym, I release all that negative energy and all of that, and just helps my mind, and it boosts the confidence. Because after the gym you feel like, you know the feeling, you just made it, you feel so good about yourself.
The endorphins?
Yeah, how you feel, it's just the dopamine, endorphins, it's everything. And even like you like yourself and your reflection much more. And to me, the physique is not like the final goal. For me, the final goal is how it makes me feel. And then that helps me achieve all other goals at work, in career, in life, in relationship, everything. Because when you feel confident, it just opens so many doors for you.
Absolutely.
Why do you go to the gym? Which benefits do you get? What's your final goal?
Well, I mean, I would say the reason I started was kind of the same as you, like mentally, but also like physically, I was like really fat. So that's why I started training. But then the main reason I would say is that it, as you said, it relates to a lot of things like fitness, and then business and self-development, and everything just kind of connects, because you learn how to like, oh, like this is not working, maybe I should do this, let me do this. But then like you start teaching yourself how to be disciplined, how to be consistent, and whenever you learn how to be consistent, it's like brick by brick you're building, and then you're like, oh, it's been like 3 years and I'm like, I was down here, now I'm all the way here. It's like a huge difference. So you kind of learn those principles, and I would say mastering those principles like gets you really, really far.
Yeah, that's true. And also, when you just when you start working out, and then in the moment it feels like nothing is changing, like it's so slow, and then eventually you look back, oh my god, it just happens. So suddenly you see the reflection, like, oh my god, I've done so much work, I went so far. And yeah, in the moment you try to put like so much effort to get to see those results, and you're not seeing them. And I know many people get demotivated from that, like, oh my god, I follow the diet, I work out like 5 times a day and nothing is happening, but we don't notice those changes in the moment. But like when you look back and you're like, oh my god, yes, I've changed, because people start noticing that. And also it gives you more energy in your body for
Definitely.
everything. Like even when I feel like so down, like upset, or when I go to the gym to release stress, and just for my mind, you can tell by my physique that I have a lot of stress because I have to release it often, maybe 5 times per week.
How much stress you have? Like,
yeah, a lot. As a creative producer, is a very stressful job to have, and working with so many people, and just it gets emotionally too much, and then you go to the gym and release that, and it's like resets your mind, and it becomes like it's really great.
That's great that you mentioned, because I feel like a lot of people who are starting, they want everything too fast. It's been like they're like, oh, it's been like 2 months. Why am I not seeing any progress in my arms or my legs or wherever? And then it's like, it's 2 months, but like, what if you change your mindset from like seeing it as like a couple months thing to like a lifetime? Because when you see it like that, you're like, okay, I'm not quitting this, so let's just actually find a plan to actually do it properly, make progress like for the long term, rather than like, I need to get this in the next 2 months. And then, like, I'm sure you've probably known people that they want to get rid of fat fast and they end up getting on pills.
Yeah.
And then they do some surgeries or something, and then they always end up getting it back because they never changed internally.
Yeah.
So they always, no matter how much you try to change external world, it can only be the reflection of your internal world, So eventually you're just going to go back to it. So the best place to start is to change from here,
Yeah, exactly. It's just the mindset. Like if you don't change the mindset, your body's not going to change. Once you change that, those beliefs that you have in your mind, then the body follows. Like all the physical results, those are just the reflections of your thoughts, of who you think you are. And also, like a great body should not be your goal, because if you're like result oriented, you're not gonna make it. You have to enjoy the process. You have to be journey oriented. You have to make it your lifestyle. Once it becomes your habit, that's when you see the change. Because also, like for example, if you, it's not that okay, I got this body, now I quit. No, it's you have to keep doing that. It's the same as learning any skills. Okay, you go learn photography. You start taking courses, you learn how to take pictures, but if you stop practicing that, you're gonna lose all that skill. Or same with playing piano. Okay, you learn to play it. Stop playing it for 5 years, you'll lose all of that. Then you have to develop again. Same with workouts. You have to, it just has to become your lifestyle, has to become your habit. And then you don't think about, your goal should not be to have a six-pack. Your goal should be go to the gym 5 times a week or 3 times. I don't know like how much time you can dedicate to that, but okay, for example, at least 3 times. You have to stick to that, and then that becomes your habit, and then you start to see changes. But those changes should be just the benefits of the goal, and the goal is a habit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because whenever you start focusing on the results, like sometimes, for example, I'll give you an example with YouTube, right? Like you're like, oh, am I gonna hit this many subscribers, right? And then you don't hit it, and you're like, maybe this is not for me, right?
Yeah.
But as you said, like whenever you focus on your inputs and you try to put your reward system and make it mainly focused on like you getting things done, and whenever you eventually get it done, then your goal naturally is gonna be the byproduct of it, So a lot of people are just want to find like shortcuts, shortcuts to get there. But then instead, the shortest way to get there is just to focus on the system that's going to get you there.
Yes, exactly. I can't agree more, because this delayed gratification is very hard. Nowadays with all the short content, with all the videos, our dopamine system in the brain is pretty much
fried.
fried.
Yeah, that's the understatement.
It's fried, because We get this cheap dopamine from everything, from snacks, from junky food, from videos, and your brain is used to having these short-term pleasures, and then gym and working out and being consistent in something, whether it's like writing a book, having a YouTube channel, or becoming a musician, or anything, it takes consistency, and it's such a long term. Even like reading a book, you have to spend like 10 hours to finish a book, and then you have to actually apply it to get that dopamine. Or you can just lay on a couch and watch TikToks, and your brain gets the same amount of dopamine, but with like, then you get long term results that are actually good for you. But because the brain is so used to getting the cheap dopamine all the time, it becomes very hard for people to like focus for long term. And especially like with YouTube, as a content creator, I can relate to that so much. You put so much effort and so much time, and you don't see those like views or followers. You don't get any feedback, or you don't get this dopamine, like any results. And then you have to just, because motivation is unreliable. The only thing you can rely on is discipline, because motivation comes in waves. There are ups and downs, but discipline is a system, and that's what you can rely on. And in the long term, that's the only thing that's gonna like bring you to the
100%,
results.
100%. Yeah, that's good that you mentioned motivation. I feel like it's just a feeling, and feelings are like just energy in motion. They just come and go. Like sometimes you're like, oh my god, today's an amazing day. Today's like, not the best. I feel tired. Or maybe this day I'm feeling energized. Just comes and goes. But like if you wanna depend your input on your emotions, it's like, then you're just expecting this is gonna be your performance. Energy just comes and goes, and if you want like depend your input on your emotions, then you're not gonna get anything done. So you have to always have that system. That's gonna be your main thing that you're gonna depend upon. And I want to disagree with like the discipline thing, because I feel like everyone is disciplined. They're just disciplined with the wrong things.
What do you mean by that?
So let's just say someone struggles to get discipline, have discipline to go to the gym, right? But they're not necessarily struggling to go to the gym. They're struggling to let go of the discipline of not going.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's all about changing internally. Like whenever, so they don't see themselves as a person who trains, then obviously it's going to be hard to be disciplined to go to the gym, right? Because like you probably seen a lot of athletes, they don't necessarily seem to struggle to get things done. They have some crazy routine. They wake up this time, I don't know, a cold shower, run this many miles, eat this, eat that. It's like, it's for them, it's a game. Like they don't feel like, oh my god, like I'm disciplined, like.
Yeah,
like that.
That made me think of one book that I read quite some time ago. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And I actually highly recommend that, because it's exactly about that. Like we have certain, to build a new habit, you need to unlearn yourself to doing something you've been doing before. Exactly. And then building those habits, creating new neuron pathways in your brain, on average it takes like 21 days to create a new habit, and then you have to stick to that no matter what. And I have this rule for myself that if I commit to something, like for example going to the gym 4 times a week, or reading a book 30 minutes per day, and there are some days that you're exhausted, you had a flight, or you're tired, or you're sick or something, and you just cannot get it done. I can only skip one day. But once you allow yourself to break your own rule twice, there is no going back. Like you
100%.
broke it. Like one time, okay, you can forgive yourself, but you just have to stick to that because you committed to something. And like if you started, just stick to that, and that's how you will break that previous pattern. Otherwise, without this internal work, you can't like just.
Do you think it's something that a lot of people struggle with that?
I think so, because okay, now, for example, after talking to you, I get motivated, I start going to the gym, but 1 week later I'm like, that dopamine hit and boost, that fades away. That motivation, because it was external motivation, that fades away, and it's not gonna wake me up in 2 weeks. It's gonna wake me up for 1 week, but on the week 2 there has to be internal, and it's internal motivation. There are certain reasons, and if it's not for the body, if it's not for the mind, then it just has to be for your own abilities to prove yourself that you can commit and stick to something, because that's how you get things done in life. If others could, why can't you?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, we're humans.
Yeah.
There is not like secret thing that are like, oh, like yeah, this person, like he did it, but I can. Like everybody can do a lot of things. Nobody's limited unless the only limitation is your mind, you know. So
Yeah.
if you just change this, then you can do everything you want. I want to touch upon like basically about you being able to change your identity, because I mentioned like a while back in the video, I was saying that I feel like it's all about your self-image, like how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a person that no matter what the situation is, you're gonna train, you're gonna eat clean, that's just who you are, that's your new version of yourself, then there's gonna be no constraint for you. You're gonna be like, oh, I mean, this is me, like I'm a fit person, like it makes sense for me to eat this type of food. I'm not gonna go to like a 7-Eleven, get like Snickers bar or Doritos, you know? I would say when you start doing the internal work, then it just naturally, like the work happens. Obviously there's gonna be some ups and downs throughout the journey because you're new to it, but long term it's gonna be pretty steady growth, you know? Especially for me, I mentioned it in my previous videos, I was like, I was fat when I started, but like mentally I already made that shift. Like for me, I was already seeing myself as a person who was doing all those things, and then it took me a couple years, but then the body that I wanted, like it's getting closer and closer every day. I'm not where I wanted to be, but like it's getting closer, you know?
Yeah, and do you ever hear people say when they see like your final result and they tell you, oh, it's just your DNA, it's just your Armenian DNA? What do you tell to those people? Because you know, also the same Armenian DNA made you fat a couple of years ago.
Exactly.
So what do you say to that?
I
get that a lot too.
I would say genetics matter, but your work and the way you put in the work and your discipline, it can make all the difference. Because yeah, you may have talent, you may have the genetics, but if you're not putting in the work, if you're not showing up on a daily basis, and you don't have that growth mindset, it doesn't really mean anything, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I get a lot, you know, people tell me like, oh, it's just you're lucky, you have good DNA, you have like six-pack, etc. And then I tell them, my DNA, but you know, I don't eat junky food. And abs, they're not created in a gym, they're created in a kitchen. It's the food you eat, no matter how much there are so many people who work out in the gym, they don't have six-pack, and I can not work out for 2 years, I will still have them. Just because I watch what I eat, because you are what you eat.
Absolutely.
And so that discipline is like in your sleeping routine, in your diet, in your thoughts, like how clean are your thoughts, how do you gaslight yourself, like even the negative self-talk. And people underestimate the importance of rest in working out, because you grow muscles when you rest, and sometimes you get that shape after you're rested, and then sometimes I purposely take like a week or two off, then my muscle like rest, and then I go to the gym, then I feel again like the growth, because muscles, they also get used to those workouts, and once you have the break, then you start, because muscle growth is damage of muscles, and then the fiber grows back, and then it becomes stronger and stronger. So for that you need to rest, and you need to sleep and eat properly. And some people just, you know, they work, and then they get injuries, and then they cannot continue doing that. So it's important to balance that with rest, and all of that comes into the final result.
A lot of people miss that part that you said, because they think like, oh, muscle comes at the gym. Like, yeah, you tear them at the gym, but like it becomes the new muscle. It gets bigger when you're resting, and they just tend to ignore that part. They're like, you know what, I'm just gonna sleep like 3 or 4 hours a day, or 5 hours a day, or I'm gonna eat like crazy bad food throughout the day. Or I've even noticed like eating a lot of food before sleep, it kind of messes up your sleeping patterns.
Yes.
And those small things make a huge difference when you get there. That's actually one of the things that I like mentioned within my coaching program, is that the first week usually it's like all about your identity, your mindset, your diet, and your recovery. Because I feel like if you don't understand the concepts of those, if you don't understand like how your internal state affects your external state, then let's just say you do all the workouts, but then eventually you're gonna fall back to your older identity, your older habits.
It's not sustainable.
Exactly, you're gonna fail.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, speaking of DNA, when people come and tell me, oh, you have nice long hair, you're just lucky with your DNA. But then I show them the picture, I used to have like very short and like thin hair. But then it also comes down to consistency. So I started taking care on daily basis. I started using oils. I learned about my hair, what's good for them, what's not. And then I grew long. And now just say, oh, you're lucky, it's your DNA. Same they say about the body, but they don't see all the amount of work that you put behind. And then people want your result, but then and they don't want to put the work that you put. Like, don't be jealous of my results. Be jealous of all the hard work I do for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, people like only want like the results, but they don't want to put in the work. There is this quote I saw like the other day was like, people want the view at the top, but they don't want the climb to the top. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And I was like, it makes so much sense that you mentioned. And like, you know, you mentioned that a lot of people, the thing is that we already went through our journey. We're still like growing and stuff. And it's been like many years for us, right? But I would say a lot of people, they don't understand that, for example, for me, I wasted honestly like about 1 or 2 years just doing random stuff, trying to figure out things.
Yeah.
I would have rather to have somebody guide me, somebody to like say like, what are you doing? Like, bro, like you're just being stupid. Like you're wasting your time. What is your diet? What is your training? Like somebody just being honest with me, and me also being open-minded enough to ask somebody for external help. And that's a mistake I would say like a lot of people make, and I made too. I don't know if you went through like a journey similar to that, if you had any coaches, but I would say whenever you do that, it's just the road becomes easier, because let's be honest, like our problems aren't special, right? Our problems aren't special. We may be a little bit unique here and there, but our problems aren't like necessarily anything crazy. Everybody goes through similar stuff, and you know, like you having a crazy body fat or you being super skinny, it's like it's not rocket science. So we just need to seek external help.
Yeah, I agree. Like having a coach is so important, and like I hire coaches, and not just for sport, but also for mind, because that helps me set new goals. For example, when people see me, they say, oh, you don't need to work out, you look great. But okay, I look great, but am I like strong enough and healthy enough? And because if I was only after looks, I would have stopped working out already. And then the main part for me is I always set a new challenge for myself. For example, we know that the main part is having like healthy joints, strong joints that can help you keep going, and being stretched enough, because okay, having muscles is great, but if you're not flexible enough, eventually all your body is going to collapse. You have to be stretched, you have to be flexible. The muscles should not prevent you from like being able to move and like touch the floor and touch your feet when you like fold. And so then my new goals were like, okay, I want to do splits. Okay, like many girls struggle with that, and I still cannot do pull-ups. And then 2 months ago, I set a goal. I want to learn to do pull-ups, and I started doing calisthenics. So when I started with a band, I started doing pull-ups with a band, and I could only do like one. Now I can do 3 times, like 15, 10, 10, which is already a big progress for me.
That's a lot. That's good.
Yeah, I still cannot do even a single time without a band, but without a band, I do negative pull-ups. So I jump up and like I go slowly down. And that's helping me get there. And this is something exciting, because every time I go, oh my God, I could do like 16. Oh my God, I could do like 17. Or now I untie the band, so it's like less weight, but then I do 8. But you know, every little progress that I see, I thank my body for that. And then once I reach that goal, then there is a next goal. It's not that, you know, you can never... You can always improve. There is always something new to learn in stretching, in strength. Like some people set new goals with weights. Some people set new goals like with pull-ups, or like I want to learn like to do like, you know, this pistol thing, like when you like a triangle.
Exactly.
So it's hard. Or like pistol squats, you know, on one leg. Those mobility challenges, and it's so exciting. Then I go every time and I practice it every time. And it's important to keep setting new goals, and having a coach is definitely gonna help.
Absolutely. You know, like no matter what level you get at, like there is always another level you can improve to, and like having a coach at that level that you want to strive to definitely makes a huge difference. Because you know, like you mentioned, like sometimes you're like, oh, like some people say, oh, like Anna, like you're already fit, like you're not supposed to do this, like you're good, you know. But like when you meet somebody that's like doing like something that you're like, wow, like that's really impressive,
better than you,
then it's like, I want to do that, you know, like I need guidance to get there, you know. But it all comes down to what you want, and sometimes your wants doesn't necessarily match with what people think it's great, or maybe it's not great. Maybe something that you really are proud of, maybe it's not something that people think it's like great, But as long as you feel like that's great, that's the most important thing, you know?
Yeah, and I think people should stop asking their friends for advice, relationship advice, fitness advice, because those people, they have their own beliefs, their own patterns, their own programs that are running subconsciously because of their parents, because of those parents, or because whatever they consume in their bubble. Like,
Exactly.
and you should seek advice. Like, if you have a desire and dream of something, then you were born with a talent for that, to achieve that. You already have all the abilities to reach whatever you want. Then ask someone who already has that. Don't ask like your friends, because they're gonna say, like, if I followed the advice my friend gave me, I wouldn't be working out, I wouldn't be where I am right now, because they would advise what they think is good, projecting their own beliefs on me. No, I want to ask someone who is already doing that. Or, you know, there is also this negative like connotation to women working out in the gym. They say, oh, you're gonna grow muscles, you're gonna become like masculine, it's gonna be bad. No, you will be toned, you will be like fit, you will be healthy. And even like for pregnant women, like for pregnancies, it's much easier to like recover from all of that body change if you're fit. So women should do weights and they should work out.
This video, the whole goal of this video that we're like making is that for people to start working out, and they kind of need to be open in their mind to start trying things out. And as I said before, start with your identity, change internally, and your external world is going to change. And what do you think like would be some actionable steps that people can do to start their fitness journey?
I think just start going there, and you will notice drastic changes in your life, in your surrounding, and in how you feel, and that will keep you going. It's a life-changing experience. Once you start, I think you cannot stop, because the benefits are too good not to follow that.
100%, yeah, that's good. Like, because when they start, and if they combine that with like a growth mindset, then like meaning you're gonna do this forever and you're gonna always look to improve, then they're set, you know.
And then once you do that, you attract like-minded people.
Exactly.
And your surrounding improves, your work improves, and everything becomes.
You find new friends, new group of community, and then you all grow.
Exactly.
That's it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you.
I feel like a lot of people like got a lot of benefits, you know.
I hope so. I hope that was valuable.
Right, of course.